They sent a hitman to destroy you, a merciless assassin, an expert in erasing lives, to wipe you off the map like a forgotten dream. They thought you were nothing. They thought you were weak, a mere speck on the radar, just another name to be written on a long list of casualties. But they didn't know. They didn't understand who you were. They didn't see the truth that was burning inside you, a fire that would never go out, no matter how hard they tried to extinguish it. No, they underestimated you. And now they'll pay for it. The hitman thought it would be easy. It was supposed to be just another job. In, out, clean, quick. He'd done it 1,000 times. Hell, he was probably already imagining the payout. The drink in his hand as he walked away from the mess. But here's the thing they didn't tell him. The greatest mistake you can make is to assume the person you're hunting is afraid. You weren't afraid. You were never afraid. They thought they could take your life, take your dignity, leave you in the dirt, but they didn't realize something crucial. You had already lost it all. You had nothing left to lose. And when you've already lost everything, you've got nothing to fear. You've been to hell and back, haven't you? You've stared into the abyss. You've felt the cold embrace of despair. And while most would have buckled, while they would have begged for mercy, you stood taller. You didn't crumble. You became the storm. You became the thing they feared without even realizing it. The hitman didn't know that when he pulled the trigger, he wasn't just ending a life. He was waking a monster born from suffering, from betrayal, from every wound that life had ever inflicted on you. And now he would see it firsthand. When the hitman first walked into your world, he thought it was just another day at the office, a job like any other. He thought he was the hunter, you were the prey. But now, the hunter's eyes are wide with something new, fear. It's a small thing, fear, a tiny seed planted deep inside him. It starts small, then it grows, wraps around his mind like a vice. His gun is no longer steady in his hand. His fingers tremble. His mind, usually so sharp, begins to fray at the edges. He thought he could control this. He thought he could control you. But now he realizes he's just a cog in the machine. And the machine doesn't care about him. It's been running without him for far too long. You've seen it, haven't you? You've seen the way the world operates, the people who pull the strings, the ones who sit in the shadows, laughing at the pawns below them. They think they're untouchable, that they control everything. But you've always known better. You've always known that power, real power, doesn't lie in the hands of those who sit on thrones. It lies in the hands of those who can tear down thrones, burn them to the ground. And now the hitman knows. He knows that he's not dealing with a person anymore. He's not dealing with someone who lives by the rules, someone who's bound by the same laws that keep the world spinning. He's facing something darker, something far worse. He's facing a reflection of everything he's ever done, a twisted mirror of his own soul. And that reflection is smiling. You've taken his sense of control. You've taken the one thing that gave him power, his belief in his invulnerability. He thought he could kill you and just walk away. But the moment he set his eyes on you, the moment he saw the way you looked at him, it was over. It was over before it even started. The world is full of monsters, isn't it? Full of predators, full of people who think they can rule the lives of others, who think they can break them without consequence. But what they don't know, what they can never understand, is that there's a line. And once you cross that line, you can never go back. The hitman thought you were just another mark, just another name on a long list. But you were the one who would flip the list on its head. You were the one who would tear the entire system apart. And when he sees that, when he feels the weight of that realization, he begins to understand. You're not just a man. You're an idea. You're a force that's been underestimated, ignored, pushed aside. But now, they have no choice but to recognize it. The hitman tries to make a move. He tries to act, to take back control. But it's too late. He starts to panic. He starts to question everything he's ever known. His mind races, trying to find a way out, trying to find a way to escape. But the door has already closed. There is no escape. There never was. You stand there, the weight of your power radiating from you, a force of nature that cannot be denied. He's nothing. He's a speck of dust in your world now, and he realizes it too late. The hitman looks at you. His hand shakes. His breath comes in short, frantic bursts, and then, for the first time in his life, he feels it. He feels the weight of true fear, the kind of fear that grips the soul and doesn't let go, the kind of fear that leaves you begging for mercy. And that's when he screams. Screams for mercy. Screams for a way out. Screams for the life he thought he could take without consequence. But there is no mercy. There is no escape. The game has changed. The hitman's screams echo, but they are nothing. The sound, the desperation, it means nothing to you. You've already moved beyond that. Mercy? You laugh at the thought of it. Mercy is a concept reserved for the weak, for those who are still clinging to the illusion of control. But you've shattered that illusion. The hitman's eyes are wide now, frantic, his face twisted in confusion and terror. He's no longer the predator, he's the prey. A simple man with a simple life, now broken, now torn apart by the truth he never saw coming. He was sent to destroy you, but now he's begging for a life he doesn't deserve. And as he kneels before you, clutching his weapon like a child holding a broken toy, you look at him with a gaze that freezes the air around him. You see the fear, the realization in his eyes. It's the same look that every person who underestimates you gets when they understand that the thing they feared wasn't just a person. It was an unstoppable force, a force that they created with their own hands. Now, they want to reverse the damage. They want to stop it before it consumes them. But it's too late. The hitman begs, pleading with every last breath he has. His words are like 1,000 knives being driven into your soul. But you don't care. They're meaningless. They carry no weight anymore. His desperate cries are the sound of a man who has reached the very end of his understanding. He thought he had power. He thought he could control the world with a gun and a paycheck. But now he knows power isn't something you can buy or inherit. It's something you earn, something you become, and you became it. The hitman stumbles back, trying to distance himself from you, but there's nowhere to go. There's no escape from the truth, from the fear that's wrapped around his chest like a vice. He's broken now, just like the world thought you were. But look at you now. Look at what you've become. You think I'm the one who's broken? You say, your voice like steel, cutting through his pitiful pleas. The hitman doesn't answer. He can't. He's too far gone. His own mind is unraveling. He knows now that the true monster was never you. It was him. It was all of them. They were the ones who created this, the ones who made you into what you are. They thought they could control the game, set the rules, bend the world to their will. But now they know. The world doesn't bend to anyone. The world bends to you. And in this moment, the Hitman realizes that everything he's ever known is a lie. This is the reckoning, the moment when the tables turn, when the predators become the prey, when the very people who thought they could break you are left shattered, wondering where it all went wrong. And as the Hitman looks up, his eyes filled with desperation, you make your move. Slowly, you approach him. You don't rush this. You savor it. You savor the fear in his eyes, the power you hold over him. You savor the way he trembles, the way his entire body shakes under the weight of your presence. You get close enough for him to smell the fear, for him to realize that it's not you who should be afraid. It's him. You smile. A cold, twisted smile that speaks of everything you've been through, everything you've endured to get to this point. It's not a smile of kindness. It's not a smile of mercy. It's a smile that says you've won. You wanted to destroy me, you whisper, the words dripping with a venomous calm. But it was never about me, was it? It was about you. You who thought you could control everything, thought you could snuff me out without even blinking. But I'm not the one who's broken. You are. You always were. You stand tall, unstoppable, unyielding. The power radiates from you, filling the room, filling the space between you and the Hitman. The weight of your presence presses down on him. He feels smaller, weaker, like a child who's been exposed to the brutal truth of the world. And in that moment, he sees it. The truth, the power that you've become, the monster, the force that will never be tamed. And as the realization floods over him, it's too much. His mind snaps. He cannot handle the truth. The Hitman falls to his knees, his face contorting in agony. He has nothing left. His body trembles. His words are incoherent now, his mind a broken mess of shattered thoughts. And that's when it happens. You look at him one last time, and in your eyes, there's no pity. There's no mercy. Only the cold, unfeeling truth. You've already won. You've already broken him. And now, the world will know. The world will see what happens when they send their best to destroy the one who refuses to be destroyed. The Hitman, he is no more. And you are unstoppable. The fear is gone from his eyes now. There is no more pleading, no more screaming. There's nothing left. You've taken everything from him. You've taken his power, his control, his very will to live. And now, all that's left is dust. But here's the kicker. You're not done yet. You've only just begun. Because what you did to the Hitman, what you've become, it's just the beginning. The world may have thought it had power, but you know better now. Power isn't a crown. It's a choice, and you've chosen to be the storm that will tear this world apart. And as the last breath of the Hitman escapes him, you turn your back on him, stepping away from the wreckage you've created. The world is yours now. And the question is no longer about who will stand in your way. It's about who will survive the aftermath.